All right, here we go with another experienced teacher through the Action Research Pathway vlog. Nothing for months and months, and then I've managed to smash out 3 in a day. Go me. In saying that, I've been meaning to do these for ages. In particular, this one. I'm going to put some reflections on how the students have found the first topic so far, or how I have perceived that they have found it. So the big change for this topic, so this is the baseline topic, so not a lot is changing in sense of the structure of the classroom. The main things that have changed are cosmetic changes to, or the introduction of the learning journey, as well as cosmetic changes to the activities that we're doing, and having the video explanations embedded in those activities. And that was through the use of QR code, so that they can grab one of these activities out of a folder, scan this QR code, and it will take them to a video of me explaining how to do this particular activity and what I'm expecting of this particular activity. So firstly, I'll talk about that. This hasn't really been an issue so far. When I demonstrated this at the start of the topic, so a couple of weeks ago now, there was a couple of sort of comments I heard around the class that, like, oh, I don't actually have to be in the classroom anymore, as in me as the teacher doesn't need to be in the classroom anymore, because all these explanations are now embedded in there. So that was, I thought, an interesting comment, in that it's kind of preempted where I'm hoping to go with this by the students doing their self-paced stuff. So that was fairly positive. In saying that, not many students have really used these videos, and that's primarily because I haven't asked them to. So as we're not doing the self-paced yet, although the videos are there, I haven't been getting them to actually access those instructional videos, because as I present each activity in class and tell them what they're supposed to be doing, I'm actually explaining the activity to them. So I'm doing it live rather than sending them to the video as you would in a normal classroom. Some students have then gone to the videos afterwards. For example, if they weren't listening while I was talking or wanted another explanation of it, some students have gone back and watched those videos again, but as a whole, not really a big change or a big effect, I don't think, in just adding those videos. The learning journey was something that students responded to very positively. So as I showed in another video, learning journeys, basically we start here and it tells you what activities we need to do. So we need to watch a video on continental drift, then we need to do the concept map, and we can choose to do these side activities if we want. Then we continue down, do a video, another flipped video, then another activity for a mastery check. So as far as the learning journey, adding the learning journey in as something that we hadn't had before. So previously there were still optional tasks to do. Definitely not as many optional tasks in the old way that we used to do this. But what I would do is have a Word document that looks like this, that would actually have a link to the activity stated, sometimes with a link. In this one I didn't, but in other ones having links to like a Google Drive where you can download the activity, and links to the videos. Now the way that we showed the compulsory versus optional ones here is through little codes at the front. So if it's a SV, it's a side video, which is optional. If it's a CV, it's a core video. And so I direct them down here. Now I found that even though this says CV and this says CX, being a core experiment, kids still got confused about which videos they were supposed to be watching, especially if I put it down as an SV but went, oh well, actually this is a higher ability class, I'll do a bit of extension with them, which is not technically in the program, but I'll extend them. So they got confused with that. So, yep, here we go. still haven't unhighlighted it. So what I have ended up doing for my classes is actually highlighting the activity that I want them to do at a particular time. So it's easier for them to find in that way. So moving to this learning journey, they've found the pictorial representation easier to navigate, and I've had some positive comments about that as to because it's fairly clear exactly what they need to do, as well as it's clear where the remedial activities are and where those extension activities are. So if they don't understand something, they can go and do this, or if they enjoy this, they can do this. Where in the, and this might take a little bit to load again, but in the purely Word document, it may be down as a CV, a core video, but if they don't understand, or a core quest, so an activity, but if they don't understand that, it's not clear whether the side video, the optional video, or the optional activity is actually extension or a remedial one, explaining it in simpler terms. So they've found that pictorial representation much clearer, and having all of those in linked into the Dropbox, so that they can click on it. They've commented on that they like this as well. The last thing I'll comment on here, which I've added, which I hadn't done before with this class, is mastery checks. Now, the mastery checks might take the form of a Google quiz with multiple choice activities in it, so they get immediate feedback from that, or it might take the form of an extended response where they actually write it in class and I mark it and give it back to them the next class. So there's different types of mastery checks depending on the actual topic that, or the best way to actually assess the student's understanding of that particular dot point or that particular chunk of knowledge. I've found that they haven't used these particularly effectively, in that they kind of, some of the students see them as a waste of time because they're not a topic test, they're not an assessment task, they've got to think, so they're hard, but they don't, or as the students say, go towards anything. So we still have that problem that if there isn't a numerical value to it, it doesn't have value to the students. I think that will change in the test topic once they actually have to get a reasonable, submit a reasonable response and show that they'll demonstrate that they have mastery of that chunk. So that's been interesting. Generally, when I'm marking, the average mark is below 50, or below 50%. So that's showing that the students don't really have that mastery yet, but we're not seeing them do too much to actually try and gain that mastery at this stage. As I said, because there's nothing forcing them to actually display mastery at this time. If they get poor feedback or they realize that there's gaps in their knowledge, there's for a lot of students there's nothing causing them to want to actually change that. I said that was the last thing. The last thing I will actually talk about is the choice of activities. So I've seen some students try side activities, and I'm generally seeing that this is the more capable students in the class because they might finish one activity early, so they'll go and they'll have a look around and ask me what activity, or ask me for an activity. However, I'm seeing that a lot of those activities that they're choosing to do are the lower level activities, so that gives me the impression that they're kind of just grinding for points rather than looking to understand the knowledge deeply, or understand that chunk of knowledge deeply. I've seen some come out over here, but not many. And lastly, if I give them the option to actually pick something, I've found a lot of students struggling with that option and what to actually pick. But that's the end of this one. Thanks for watching. Peace out.